The sky burned as the ship fell. Commander Jack Reese held on tightly to the metal frame beside him. Alarms screamed. Red lights flashed. The ground came closer and closer. "Brace for impact," he shouted, but no one answered. The ship crashed into the icy surface with a loud roar. Metal twisted. Fire sparked. Then, silence. Hours passed. When Jack opened his eyes, everything was white. Snow blew across broken glass and smoking wreckage. His body hurt all over, but he was alive. He pulled himself out of the wrecked ship, limping. Cold wind hit his face like knives. He looked around. Bodies lay still in the snow. Human bodies. He was the only one left. Jack looked up at the sky. It was dark now. Clouds covered the stars. A storm was coming. He needed shelter. He needed heat. As he crawled back inside the wreckage, he heard something. A sound. A soft cough. Someone else had survived. He followed the sound through the ship's ruined hallway. Debris was everywhere. Then he saw it. Not a human. It was an alien. A Zarnok. His enemy. The alien sat against the wall, breathing heavily. His skin was pale blue, his 4 fingers shaking. Blood dripped from a wound on his side. His black eyes opened slowly as he saw Jack. Both stared at each other. Jack reached for his sidearm. The alien raised a weak hand. "Wait," he said in a low voice. "I don't want to fight." Jack didn't trust him. The Zarnoks had killed too many of his people, but the alien was hurt, dying. Jack lowered the weapon, just a little. "What are you doing here?" crashed, the alien said. "Same as you." Snow began to fall inside through the broken walls. The cold was getting worse. Jack moved back to the supply room. Almost everything was burned. Only one sleeping bag had survived. He took it, went to a corner and sat down, wrapping it around himself. Minutes passed. Then he heard the alien's voice again, weak and shaking. "Human, I'm freezing." Jack said nothing. "Let me share your sleeping bag before I freeze." Jack looked at him. The alien was shivering badly now, his blue skin turning gray. Jack cursed under his breath. This was insane. "You're my enemy," he said. "Not now," the alien replied. "We both want to live." Jack closed his eyes. He had trained for war, for killing, not for this. But if the alien died, Jack might be alone here, and no one survived long alone on an ice planet. He sighed and opened the sleeping bag. "Get in." But no sudden moves. The alien nodded and slowly crawled over. Every step seemed painful. He slid into the sleeping bag beside Jack, both of them, packed tight in the small space. They didn't speak for a long time. The wind howled outside. The cold crept in. Jack kept his knife close under the bag just in case. The alien finally spoke again. "My name is Tharn." Jack didn't answer. "What's your name?" Tharn asked. "Jack." "Thank you, Jack." Jack looked at him. His black alien eyes were half closed now, almost asleep. Maybe he wasn't a threat. Maybe. But Jack didn't sleep that night. He stayed awake, listening to the wind and to the slow breathing of the creature beside him. His enemy. Or maybe not anymore. Uneasy Alliance Jack woke up with a start. For a second he didn't know where he was. All he saw was white. Snow, frost, steam from his own breath. Then he remembered. The crash. The cold. The alien. He turned his head slowly. Tharn, the Zarnok, was still beside him in the sleeping bag. His skin looked a little better, less gray, but his breathing was shallow. They had made it through the night, but only barely. Outside, the wind still screamed across the frozen plains. Pieces of the ship lay scattered like bones. The storm hadn't passed. Jack carefully pulled himself out of the sleeping bag. His legs were stiff. His lips were cracked. He had to find food, water, something. As he stood, Tharn opened his eyes. "Where are you going?" "To see if we're really alone." Jack said without looking back. He climbed through the wreckage, stepping over frozen wires and broken panels. Snow crunched under his boots. Every sound felt louder than it should. The cold had a way of making silence terrifying. Then he heard something. Not the wind, not Tharn. Something else. A soft clicking, like bones tapping together. He froze. Turned slowly. Nothing. He moved again, this time faster. He found a ration pack near a dead crew member. It was half burned, but edible. He took it, then grabbed a small flare gun. On his way back, he saw it. Tracks, in the snow, but not his. Not Tharn's. Clawed feet. Long stride. Whatever it was, it had passed through the crash site during the night. And it was big. Jack returned to Tharn, his face pale. "We're not alone," he said, handing him the ration. Tharn took it slowly, sniffed it, and nodded. "Thank you." Jack sat near the broken wall holding the flare gun tight. "Something's out there." "Ice beasts," Tharn said between bites. Jack looked at him. "You've seen them before?" "Not seen. Heard. Stories, from soldiers who fought on frozen moons. They move in storms. Follow heat. Follow sound." "Great," Jack muttered. "So we're the dinner bell." They sat in silence for a while, eating slowly. Then Tharn spoke again. "You don't trust me." Jack looked at him. "Should I?" "No," Tharn said honestly. "Not yet." The alien reached into his damaged armor and pulled out a small silver cube. He placed it carefully on the floor between them. "What is it?" Jack asked. "Translator, data recorder, and beacon." Jack's eyes narrowed. "You had a beacon this whole time?" "Damaged," Tharn said. "Needs power core. Mine was lost when we crashed." "So, no way to call for help?" "Not yet." Jack picked up the cube. It was warm. Strange symbols glowed on its surface. Alien tech, but beautiful. Suddenly, they both froze. A sound. A growl. Low. Deep. Not far away. Something heavy stepped on snow outside. Then again. And again. Jack grabbed the flare gun. Tharn sat up straighter, his hand glowing faintly. Some kind of built-in energy weapon sparking in his palm. The sound circled the wreckage. Jack peeked through a crack in the wall. His blood turned to ice. A creature stood outside, tall as two men, covered in thick white fur. Its eyes glowed blue. Long arms ended in claws like blades. Steam rose from its mouth with every breath. It sniffed the air, then let out a roar. Jack fired the flare gun without thinking. The bright red light shot through the air, hit the creature in the shoulder. It screamed in pain and stumbled back. Tharn jumped up and aimed his glowing hand. A bolt of blue energy blasted into the beast's leg. It roared again and limped away into the snowstorm. Silence returned, but it didn't feel like safety. Jack and Tharn stared at each other. "You saved me," Jack said. "You saved me first," Tharn replied. For the first time, they both smiled, just a little. Jack sat down hard. "We need a plan. We need fire, food, shelter." Jack nodded. "We also need to get off this ice rock." Tharn looked at the silver cube. "I can fix the beacon. Maybe." Jack stood up. "Then start fixing. I'll keep watch." Outside, the snow fell harder. The wind screamed louder. But inside the broken ship, a human and an alien sat side by side. No longer enemies. Not yet friends. But something was changing. And whatever was out there in the storm would soon learn they were not easy prey. The ice beasts, the storm didn't end. It grew stronger. Icy wind tore across the crash site like a living thing, howling through metal and bone. The snow wasn't falling anymore. It was flying sideways. Inside the broken ship, Jack watched. The storm through a narrow crack. Every few seconds he scanned for movement, for shapes, for monsters. Tharn worked quietly in the corner, fingers glowing with faint blue light as he adjusted wires on the beacon cube. "How's it going?" Jack asked. "Slow. Tharn said. The system is delicate. Your flare helped. But we need more energy. Jack sighed and turned away. We might not have time. He hadn't told Tharn everything. Not yet. He hadn't told him about the second set of tracks. Smaller. Lighter. Human. Someone else was alive out there. Someone who hadn't made contact. Someone who might be hiding. Or hunting. The night came fast again. The temperature dropped so low Jack's breath froze on his eyelashes. The sleeping bag was barely enough for two. And now both men slept in shifts. While one rested, the other kept watch. On Jack's shift, he heard it again. Clicking. Soft at first, then louder, closer. He grabbed the flare gun, heart pounding. Tharn sat up. You hear it too? Jack nodded slowly. Outside, something moved past the crack in the wall. A shadow, then another, then more. Not just one creature. 3, maybe 4, circling. The ship creaked. A sharp claw scraped against the metal outside. Then, silence. Jack raised the flare gun. Waited. Nothing. Then, a scream. Not an animal. A human scream. Jack and Tharn looked at each other. Someone's out there, Jack whispered. Someone alive, Tharn said, confused. Jack didn't wait. He grabbed his jacket, a flashlight, and stepped into the storm. He followed the scream across the snow toward a jagged hill of ice. Wind slammed into him from all sides, but he kept going. He found footprints. Fresh. He climbed the ridge, his flashlight flickering. At the top, he saw her. A woman. Human. Wrapped. In a torn thermal blanket, blood on her face. She held a sharp metal rod in both hands like a spear. Jack raised a hand. Hey, I'm human! The woman turned fast, eyes wide with terror. Stay back, she shouted. They're still here. Who? Jack asked. Then they both heard it. A growl. Deep. Hungry. From behind them. Jack turned just in time to see the beast leap. He shoved the woman down and rolled aside. The creature landed hard in the snow, claws swiping. Jack fired the flare gun. It struck the monster's chest, burning bright. The thing howled and ran into the dark, smoke trailing. Behind. More growls came from below the hill. Too many. Jack grabbed the woman's arm. Come with me if you want to live. They ran through the snow, slipping, falling, getting back up. The wind roared louder, as if trying to bury them. They reached the wreckage just in time. Tharn stood in the entrance, energy glowing in both hands. He stared at the new woman, eyes narrowing. Another human, he said flatly. Jack pushed her inside. Her name? Dr. Lena Voss, she said, breathing hard. Science officer. I hid in the cargo pod during the crash. You're lucky, Jack said, but not for long. They're coming. The 3 survivors sat in silence, catching their breath. Jack told Tharn about the extra tracks. I saw them this morning. I thought, maybe it was you? Or a trick. Tharn nodded. They're intelligent. The beasts, not just animals. What? Jack asked. Some planets have hunters. Predators that learn. Wait. Study prey. Like we do. Jack felt the cold in his bones now, but it wasn't from the snow. Lena looked between them. What are you two doing here together? He's Zarnok. He's also the reason I'm still alive, Jack said. For now. Lena didn't argue. Instead, she opened her satchel. I have a mini-core, half-charged. We used it to power comms. Tharn's eyes lit up. Give it to me. You can fix the beacon, Jack asked. With this, Tharn said, taking it carefully. Yes, but it will take time. How long? Hours, maybe all night. Jack nodded and stood. Then we hold the line until then. Lena looked at him. With what? You have a flare gun. I have a pipe. Jack smiled grimly. And he has lightning hands. Tharn held up a glowing palm. They won't take us easy. The final hours of the night felt like war. Jack and Lena blocked the broken wall with burned panels. Tharn worked with focus, hands dancing over the beacon cube. Light pulsed. Alien symbols rotated. Energy built. Outside, growls came closer. Then scratching. Then silence again. Jack stood ready. Then the wall behind them exploded inward. One of the beasts charged in, claws ripping metal, eyes glowing with rage. Jack tackled it. The beast swiped, claws tearing his jacket. Lena screamed and stabbed it with her pipe. Tharn raised his hands. Blue lightning fired and slammed into the creature's back. It shrieked and collapsed, but more were coming. Jack turned. "We can't hold them." "Just one more minute," Tharn shouted. Another monster leapt in. Tharn blasted it midair but fell to his knees. The beacon cube rose into the air, glowing brightly. A signal shot into the sky, up, through the storm. Into space. The creatures screamed and retreated, blinded by the light. The flare lit up the sky like a second sun. Then silence. Real silence. Jack dropped to his knees. "Did it work?" Lena asked, voice shaking. Tharn looked up, weak but smiling. "They heard us." The signal of blue light pulsed from the beacon cube. It floated mid-air, humming softly. The signal had been sent. Somewhere above the storm, past the black sky, someone had seen it. But rescue wasn't here yet, and the creatures outside, they had only stepped back, not left. Jack stood in silence, staring at the light. His body ached. 3 gashes across his side were bleeding slowly. He didn't even feel the pain anymore, just the cold and the weight of too many questions. Lena wrapped a cloth around his wound. "You lost a lot of blood." "I'll live," Jack muttered. Tharn sat near the beacon, exhausted. Sparks flickered across his hands, drained from firing so much energy. His breathing was uneven, but his eyes watched them both. "We bought time," Tharn said. "Maybe hours, maybe less." "We need a plan for when they come back," Lena said. "We need to be ready," Jack added. "And we need to talk." He looked straight at Tharn. "You knew about the beasts before the crash, didn't you?" Tharn didn't deny it. He looked down, guilty. "Yes. My people scouted this planet. We called it X-47 Frost Sector. There was a reason no one colonized it." Jack's jaw tightened. "But you didn't say anything. Would you have trusted me?" Tharn asked. Silence. He was right. "We shouldn't trust him now," Lena said sharply. "He's hiding something." "I know it." Jack nodded slowly. "He is, and so are you." Lena stiffened. "What?" Jack reached into her pack and pulled out a second device, small, round, and blinking red. "I found this when you were patching my wound." "You didn't mention it." Lena looked stunned. "That's a biosignal marker. It's standard for tracking medical officers." "Or for something else?" Jack asked. "Like what?" she challenged. "Like calling someone other than rescue. Someone who doesn't care if we're alive." The air grew heavy. 3 survivors. 3 secrets. And maybe 3 very different goals. Later that night, the storm finally started to fade. For the first time since the crash, the sky opened above them. Dark blue, full of strange stars. Jack stood outside the wreckage, flare gun hanging at his side, looking up. Cold wind blew gently now, not deadly, just sharp. A soft crunch behind him. Lena stepped beside him, quiet. "You still don't believe me." "I want to," Jack said. "Then do." Jack didn't answer. Instead, he asked, "Why did you scream last night?" Lena blinked. "What?" "When I found you." The scream. It wasn't panic. It was warning. She looked down. "I saw the creatures before you did." "No. You saw them, and you didn't run. You waited. You knew I'd follow the scream." Lena didn't speak. Jack looked at her. "Were you trying to lead them to me?" Her jaw clenched. "I was trying to survive." "At my expense?" Before she could reply, a sound cut through the Cold, a voice, static-filled. Robotic, but clear. Priority signal received. Responding unit inbound. Arrival in estimated 4 hours. Jack ran to the beacon cube. The light had turned green. They had been heard. Someone was coming. But who? Tharn stepped forward, weak but alert. That wasn't a human signal. Jack froze. What? The voice. That was Zarnok military code. Encrypted channel. Lena's eyes went wide. Your people? Maybe. Or what's left of them. Jack looked at Tharn. Can we cancel it? Too late, Tharn said. They locked onto our position. The hope Jack had felt was already dying. Rescue was coming. But not his kind. Maybe not rescue at all. The next hours were full of silence. Jack sat by the broken hull, knife in one hand, flare gun in the other. Tharn recharged quietly, blue light returning to his hands. Lena cleaned the wound on her arm but kept glancing at the sky. Finally, Jack spoke. We need to assume the Zarnok ship won't help us. Tharn nodded. They might kill me for defecting. They'll kill us both for being human, Lena added. Then we hide, Jack said. No, Tharn replied. We fight, or we escape. Jack looked at him. How? They'll land a warship. Tharn opened a panel in the wall. Behind it was a sealed crate, alien tech. What is that? Jack asked. My emergency drop. Every officer carries one. Weapons, cloaks, maybe even a ship beacon override. Jack opened it. Inside were 2 glowing weapons, a metal sphere and a belt with strange symbols. You were planning to escape, Jack said. Always, Tharn replied. The war was never mine. Jack picked up one of the weapons, a sleek blaster. Can humans use these? Tharn smiled faintly. Point and shoot. Hours passed. Then, a deep rumble shook the ground. They rushed outside. A black ship descended from the clouds, its engines humming low, soundless almost. No markings, no lights, just power and silence. It landed quietly near the wreck. A door opened, a shadow stepped out. Not human, not Tharn, taller. Armor-plated, glowing red eyes, carrying a heavy staff. It didn't speak. It looked at Tharn, then at Jack and Lena. Jack raised the blaster. Do not move, the alien said in perfect English. Identify yourselves. Jack didn't move. Who are you? You activated a restricted signal. This area is under Zarnok Protocol 9B. That's a war code, Tharn whispered. Not rescue. Jack realized the truth. This wasn't a rescue ship. It was a cleanup team. They hadn't come to save anyone. They came to erase survivors. The truth, the Zarnok soldier stood tall under the cold, starless sky. Its armor reflected the wreckage firelight. Red eyes scanned the 3 survivors, Jack, Lena, and Tharn, like a machine analyzing threats. None of them moved. Jack held the alien blaster tightly, finger near the trigger. Tharn kept his hands glowing but low. Lena stood frozen, unsure whether to hide or speak. The alien's voice broke the silence. Flat, emotionless. You are unauthorized occupants of classified space. Surrender now for termination with honor. Jack almost laughed. Termination with honor? You activated a restricted war signal, the alien replied. Protocol 9B. Extraction is not permitted, only elimination. We're not enemies, Jack shouted. We're survivors. That status is irrelevant. Jack fired. The blaster bolt hit the alien in the chest, but bounced off its armor with a flash. Run, Tharn yelled. They turned and dove behind the broken engine block. A second later, the soldier's staff slammed the ground. A shockwave burst out, throwing metal and snow into the air. Jack's ears rang. Lena was on the ground, coughing. Tharn groaned beside her. They had seconds. We can't fight him like this, Jack growled. There's a weakness in the armor, Tharn said quickly. Back neck joint. But someone has to distract him. Jack looked at him. You? Tharn met his eyes. No. Me and her will draw him out. You get behind him and take the shot. What if I miss? Then we die. Jack didn't hesitate. The plan moved fast. Tharn stepped out, arms up, light glowing from his hands. "Soldier," he called. "I am Officer Tharn of Fleet 12. I demand trial by code." The alien paused. "You were marked as traitor," Dur said. "Your code is revoked." "Then come revoke it yourself," Tharn snarled. He threw a bolt of blue fire. The alien blocked it with his staff. Jack circled around, hiding behind scorched wreckage. Lena picked up a piece of sharp metal and hurled it. It missed but got the soldier's attention. Tharn shouted and ran, drawing fire. The alien followed, mechanical and cold. Jack crept behind, aimed, just a little closer. The alien raised its staff. Tharn fell to his knees, arms up. Jack fired. The shot hit dead center on the back of the neck. A burst of blue light exploded from the point. The alien froze. For 1 second, everything stopped. Then, the Zarnok soldier collapsed. Silence. Cold. And then, Lena turned on Jack. "How did you know exactly where to shoot?" Jack blinked. "What? That wasn't just lucky. You knew their weak spot. Human soldiers don't get that info." Jack looked at her. "I've fought Zarnok before." "Not like that," she said. "You aimed like you were trained with their weapons." Tharn stood up slowly, watching them both. "What are you saying?" Jack asked carefully. "I'm saying," Lena said slowly, "one of us has been lying all along. And I don't think it's him anymore." Jack's jaw tightened. "You're saying I'm a traitor now?" "I'm saying you have Zarnok weapon handling, insider knowledge, and you never told us what your real mission was before the crash." Silence. Even the wind had stopped. Jack looked at Tharn. "You believe this?" Tharn hesitated. "I don't know what to believe anymore." That night, they dragged the armored body into the wreck and examined it. Inside the armor was a communication chip. Tharn hacked it open. A message began to play, distorted alien language. But Tharn translated. "Terminate rogue agent Tharn. Any witnesses to be cleansed. Failure to obey will trigger automated purge. Local weapons will detonate in 4 hours if no confirmation code is sent." Lena stepped back. "They rigged the planet." "If we don't send a code back," Tharn said, "they will destroy this zone completely, full wipe." Jack stared at the blinking chip. "So we're not just waiting for rescue now. We're sitting on a countdown," Tharn said. "And the only one who can stop it?" He looked at Jack. "Might be you." Lena's voice was low. "Tell the truth, Jack." He looked at them both, and finally spoke. "I wasn't just a soldier," Jack said. "I was special recon, black file. We were trained to infiltrate Zarnok ships, learn their tech, survive behind their lines." He paused. "I wasn't supposed to survive this crash. My mission was to destroy their beacon systems and recover. Tech. Tharn's ship was one of our targets." Tharn's face hardened. "You shot us down?" "No," Jack said. "But my people did. I was told to let the crash happen, then finish the job." Lena looked disgusted. "So everything in the sleeping bag, the trust, it was all fake?" "No," Jack said quickly. "It changed. I changed. After we crashed, I realized Tharn wasn't my enemy. Not really." He looked at Tharn now. "You saved me. Again. And again. Even when you didn't have to." Silence stretched between them. Tharn stood. "Then help me now," he said. "We need a code to stop the countdown. You might know the override." Jack nodded. "Maybe." "And if not?" Lena asked. Jack met her eyes. "Then we die. Together." They spent the next 2 hours working on the code. Tharn cracked the encryption. Jack remembered an old emergency bypass from his recon files. Together, they tried a sequence. The cube flashed red, then yellow, then green. The countdown stopped. The threat, for now, was gone. Jack sat back, exhausted. Lena leaned against the wall, eyes closed. Tharn breathed deeply. They had stopped the purge, But the beacon was still broadcasting and someone else might come next. Human or Zarnok, friend or hunter. Jack looked at the stars above. The truth had come out. But survival was still a battle, and the biggest choice was yet to come. The betrayal, the cold had stopped mattering. They were numb now, not from frost, but from the weight of too many choices. Jack sat against the wall of the broken ship, fingers still wrapped around the alien beacon device. It no longer glowed. The countdown had stopped, but the signal was still out there. Somebody had heard it and someone was coming. The sky above the frozen planet had started to shift. Not with snow, not with wind, but with movement. A ship, larger than the last. Sleeker. Human design this time. Matte gray with the United Earth Force emblem faintly glowing under its hull. It came from the clouds like a ghost, slow and silent, until it hovered. Directly above the crash site. Jack stood up. His heart beat faster. Tharn and Lena joined him, staring into the sky. "It's a human recon craft," Jack whispered. "Long range, minimal crew." "You sure it's not another trap?" Lena asked, hand on her sidearm. "No," Jack said honestly. "But it's not Zarnok. That I know." The ship released a beam of white light, scanning them. A robotic voice echoed from above. "Identify. Survivors detected. Commander Jack Reese unconfirmed. Prepare for extraction. 1 passenger limit. Priority code Omega." Jack's stomach dropped. 1 passenger. Tharn looked at him. Lena's mouth opened. "What did it say?" "They'll only take 1, Jack said, eyes wide. "Me." "What kind of rescue mission brings 1 seat?" Lena snapped. "It's not a rescue ship," Jack realized. "It's a ghost evac. Secret protocol. Only for Black Ops agents. My mission profile must have activated it." "So they're not here for us," Tharn said quietly. "Just you." The beam of light held steady. Waiting. The robotic voice returned. "Commander Jack Reese. Evacuation available for 10 minutes. Confirm boarding now." No one spoke. The wind returned, soft and bitter. Jack stepped forward. Just 1 step. Then he stopped. Turned around. Looked at them. Lena. Injured. Exhausted. Still strong. Tharn. Enemy turned ally. Alien but more human than many humans Jack had known. "Go," Lena said coldly. "It's your mission, right?" "Don't do this," Jack whispered. "Don't what?" she snapped. "Don't die alone? Don't get betrayed by the guy who promised we'd all make it out?" Tharn didn't speak. He just stared at Jack. No anger, no sadness, just a deep, unspoken question in his eyes. "Who are you really going to be?" Jack paced in silence. 5 minutes left. He could board that ship, be warm again, breathe clean air, leave this nightmare behind. And all it would cost was them. Just walk away, like he was trained to do. "They won't come back," he said, out loud. "If I go, they won't send another ship. No one else is on their list." "We know," Lena said quietly. Jack clenched his fists. "I can try to reprogram it. Add more clearance." Tharn shook his head. "The ship is AI locked. Even you can't hack a black file evac system." Jack sat down hard in the snow. 3 minutes left. No one moved. Then, a sound. Footsteps. Not human. Not Tharn. Jack turned quickly. Ice creatures, more of them. Drawn by the beacon's signal again. 5, maybe 6, their claws glowing faintly under, their fur. Jack grabbed the alien blaster. "They're back." Lena fired her sidearm. 2 beasts scattered. Tharn shot an energy blast, dropping 1. "This is no longer a decision," Lena shouted. "They're not going to wait for your guilt. Trip, they're going to eat us alive." Jack looked up at the hovering ship. The light was still waiting. 2 minutes. He made a decision, ran to the evac ship's projected beam but not to board. Instead, he pulled out the alien beacon cube. "What are you doing?" Lena screamed. "Changing the signal," Jack shouted. He slammed the beacon on the ground, cracked it open and began working, rerouting the signal through the ship's evac field. Tharn's eyes widened. Jack, if you cross the beacon to the ship's AI, it'll see it as a threat. I know, Jack said. It'll detonate the platform, Jack kept typing. Or it'll reboot and recognize us all as survivors under emergency code. The beasts crept closer. One lunged. Jack rolled aside. Tharn blasted it mid-air but missed the head. Lena threw her pipe, hitting it in the eye. Jack finished the sequence. Hit enter. Everything went silent. Then the evac ship's voice changed. Override. Detected. Emergency code 4B acknowledged. Expanding passenger manifest. Boarding available for 3. Tharn looked stunned. You did it! We need to move now! Jack shouted. They ran to the beam. The light expanded, humming. The remaining beasts howled and ran, not toward them but away. Something in the ship scared even them. The trio stepped into the light. Jack looked at Tharn and Lena. We're getting off this rock. All of us. The ship pulled them upward, into safety. Inside the ship, warm air hit Jack's face for the first time in days. He dropped to his knees, laughing and coughing at the same time. Lena leaned back against the wall. I can't believe we made it. Tharn stared at the controls. You rewrote the AI's passenger logic using alien code and human emotion. Jack smiled weakly. Turns out both are good for something. They sat in silence, broken, bleeding, alive. But before they could celebrate, the ship's lights flickered. A new voice came over the speaker. Incoming transmission. High priority. Origin. Earth command. Jack stood slowly. The screen lit up with a cold face. Human. Military. Eyes sharp. Commander Reese? The man said. You were ordered to recover tech and leave no survivors. Jack's heart sank. We improvised. Your mission is not over, the officer replied. You will complete your orders, or you will be terminated as well. The screen went black. Tharn looked at him. Was that real? Jack didn't answer. His face had gone pale. They were not safe yet. The ship climbed higher through the frozen clouds. Jack stood in the center of the control room, staring at the dark screen. His hands trembled. Not from the cold, but from what he'd just heard. Complete your mission, or be terminated. The voice of Earth Command still echoed in his ears. Behind him, Lena patched a wound on her leg. Tharn sat near the doorway, his alien eyes watching Jack closely. Nobody spoke. They knew something had changed. Jack walked to the main console and stared at the blinking message. Earth Command was still connected, waiting for a response. They knew Tharn was alive, they knew Lena was a witness, and they wanted them both gone. What happens now? Lena finally asked, her voice flat. Jack didn't answer. She stood, limped to him, grabbed his arm. What? Happens. Now? Jack turned. They don't want us coming back. They don't want you coming back with us, she corrected. Tharn stepped forward. Your people fear loose ends, too many secrets. Jack nodded. And I became one of them. He tapped a button on the console and brought up the ship's navigation. Destination, Earth Command Outpost Yo-7, Arctic Quarantine Base. Time to arrival, 2 hours. Lena leaned over his shoulder. If we land there, they'll kill us the moment that door opens. Not if I stop them first, Jack said. How? Tharn asked. Fight the entire station? Maybe, Jack said. Maybe we don't land there at all. Jack began typing. Rerouting destination. Lena's eyes narrowed. What are you doing? There's an old listening post on Titan. Cold, abandoned, low orbit, no surveillance. We land there, wipe the ship logs, fake a crash, then disappear. Into what? Lena asked. We'll be fugitives. Or, alive, Jack said. That's enough. They'll come for you, Tharn said. Jack turned to him. I'm already dead to them. Silence. Then a soft beep. The ship turned gently in space, changing course. Destination updated. Titan relay post Zeta. But they were not alone. A red warning light flashed. External signal detected. Tracking beacon activated. Stealth compromised. Jack's eyes widened. They locked us. From orbit. They knew I'd disobey. The ship began to vibrate. Another screen lit up, showing a pursuer, an interceptor drone, sleek, weaponized, fast, time to impact, 15 minutes. Jack ran to the weapons console. We have one pulse cannon, maybe enough to shoot it down. Maybe, Lena asked. We get one shot. What if we miss? Jack looked at her. Then we burn. He turned to Tharn. Get to the turret. Aim manually. I'll boost power. Tharn hesitated. I've never used human tech. You've used worse in war, Jack said. And you survived that. Tharn nodded and sprinted toward the rear cannon bay. The drone drew closer. The screen showed its glowing core, already charging a weapon of its own. Jack rerouted all power to the weapon system. Tharn, now. A pause. Then Tharn's voice echoed over the comms. Target locked. Firing. A beam of blue-white light shot out from the ship, through space straight at the drone. It struck, a bright flash. The screen went white, then static, then silence. Jack held his breath. Slowly, the screen cleared. The drone was gone, destroyed. Lena laughed, almost shocked. He hit it. Jack smiled. He hit it. But the ship shook again. That wasn't the drone, Jack said. We've got damage. The shot overloaded our reactor. The lights dimmed. Emergency mode activated. Tharn returned to the cabin, panting. We're alive. Jack looked at him. But the ship isn't. We've got 20 minutes before full system shutdown. Can we still reach Titan? Lena asked. Jack shook his head. Not without someone staying behind to stabilize the core. Manual override. It has to be done from engineering. And that person won't survive, Tharn said softly. They all understood. Someone had to stay. The silence became heavy. Again, Jack stepped forward. I'll do it. Lena grabbed his arm. No, you don't get to play hero now. I caused this. I started this mission. I made every decision that brought us here. And you saved us, Tharn said. More than once. Which is why I have to finish it. He turned to Tharn. Take her to Titan. Wipe the logs, hide the ship, disappear. Tharn stepped closer. No. Jack frowned. What? You gave me a second chance, Tharn said. On that ice, when no one would have. He took a slow breath. Let me return the favor. No, Jack said quickly. I can't ask. You didn't ask, Tharn interrupted. I chose. He stepped past Jack and walked to the engineering door. You're a soldier, he said quietly. But I am something else now. Maybe a friend. Maybe a debt repaid. Either way. Let me give this gift. Jack opened his mouth to argue, but words failed. Lena's eyes were wet. Thank you, she whispered. Tharn smiled, not with lips, but with eyes. You humans say strange things, but I think this one fits. He looked at them both. It was an honor. Then he stepped inside the engine room. The door closed and locked. The ship stabilized. Power returned. The new course held. Jack and Lena sat in silence, both staring at the closed door. No more words. No more missions. Just grief and gratitude. 2 hours later, the ship descended gently onto Titan's frozen surface. No one detected them. Jack wiped the logs. Lena changed the beacon codes. They walked into the dark snow, free for the first time in weeks. Behind them, the ship was quiet, empty, but never forgotten. Some say they died in that crash. Some say the mission failed. And some say the 2 survivors were ghosts, hunted but never found. But somewhere, out in the cold stars, a choice was made, and for once in the long war, the right one. The end.